recorded.
She's coming. That's right. You heard her. Welcome to the call, everybody. My name is Tim. And I want to welcome the lovely Natasha Jordan. She's with us. How are you last week?
I'm good. You're freezing up a little bit.
Lag, so hopefully we get that.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I think we had a little bit of lag there. Just went like this. All right, now we're good now. Well, welcome to the call, man. I'm so glad you're here. And we missed you last week, but you know what? She's in the middle of building her house, getting stuff done. And I saw pictures. Oh my God. You got to be excited. It's so wonderful to have you here, though.
Thank you. Well, before we get started, though, as a disclaimer, today is Monday, September the 1st, 2025. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us tonight. I just want to let y'all know that this call is for entertainment purposes only. We're not here to hurt anybody's feelings whatsoever. We're not attorneys. We do not provide legal advice. We do not talk about alcohol, drugs, or we do not promote those whatsoever. And we're just here to help everybody with this freedom movement. And we ask that if you have any questions to drop them at the bottom of the chat and let us know. We'd be glad to help and answer them any way that's possible.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, absolutely.
Amen. Thanks so much. And you know what? Hey guys, while you're on this and while before we can get all this started, please like and share. You know what I mean? Throw this up on your page. We could certainly use the views. And I want to thank all of you guys for being here tonight. Last week, we put out a press. We put out a press conference. Actually, I don't know if you got it. It's going on in Houston County, Texas, and it has been a lot. I'm going to tell you, I have filed in the Texas Supreme Court, the Texas 12th Court of Appeals, and we're now in the federal courts in Lufkin. And what could all this be about? 2 CBD cigarettes purchased legally in an illegal search. That's where all this started from. It started 6 years ago. And the real deal is that we had 46 acres of property out there. This is how the House of Yah started. We had 46 acres of property with 13 homes out there, and we were servicing our homeless vets. And sometimes Big Brother doesn't like what Little Brother is doing, and that's exactly what happened. So this was kind of a big land grab situation. And, you know, any support that you guys can give us, we'd certainly appreciate it. We could use it. Our legal expenses, even though we're all doing it in-house, just the filing fees alone last month were over $2,000. Just filing fees. Filing and servicing, you know, getting people served and chasing down a judge to go get him served is really expensive. Especially when they don't want to be. Praise be to Yahweh. And ha ha ha. Anyway, so your continued support is definitely needed. So if you guys find it in your hearts to donate to us, we'd love to have your support. You can go to our website, houseofyah.communityoutreach.com, or you can call our office and visit with us there. You know, I'd be happy to tell you about everything we got going on. It's no problem. 210-605-0144. So anyway, thank you everybody for being on the call tonight. Tonight, we're going to be talking about debt, equity, and foreclosure. This is a class that I've been teaching for about 9 years now. And my students have had wonderful results. I thought Christine was on the call, but you know, Christine was on the call. She took the class. She got sued by a debt collector. She did. Like $7,000. But $7,400, $7,500. It was like over $7,000, but it was just in that $7,000 range. And we made one proper response. And it took care of everything. As a matter of fact, the entire case was dismissed and nobody showed up. Now, how did these things happen? Was it just lucky, Natasha? I mean, really, was I just lucky? I mean, I don't think it's luck at all. I think what we learned in this class is how the balances and exchanges of equity actually work. And I think that's why she
Sorry, there was a bad lag time.
There was. It's okay.
Yeah. No, with this class here, though, I really enjoyed it because once I got my trust set up, it was
Mhm.
time to protect it. And I actually had a credit card, I think around Christine's was about $7,600. And I took your class and I done everything that you told me, here's the form, fill it out, all the correct things. I sent it in and immediately the call stopped. They sent me letters saying that they wouldn't, contact me anymore, this and that and the other. And then, in your class, you say wait 30 days, send the other letters in, and the other processes. And I had no problems whatsoever with it. It ceased, it stopped, and but that was protection with my beneficiaries that I really appreciated that class a lot. Not only that though, it helped build my credit back up. So
Well, that's a big thing that we're going to be talking about is cleaning up credit. And what we're going to do is in this class, we're going to be doing something we've never done before, Natasha. Now, I've been working in contracts for years. I mean, my background, I spent 23 years in the car business, 8 years as a gentleman. I saw I worked in dealerships where on a Saturday they would sell 80 cars. One Saturday, sell 80, 85 cars. And that was just the used car department. Okay. So I worked in these high volume dealerships, man, and I saw paper flying. I mean, just flying everywhere. And when I woke up in 2015, all of that experience, all the things that I saw, wasn't quite able to put them together. But then the lights turned on and boom, I got it. I totally got it. And then I understood how all this stuff really works. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you, it's not about your collateral. Your loan is not about your collateral. That's just to keep you on point, literally. And when we go through the elements of a contract and you guys see what the logistic legal elements, I'm actually going to take you through contract class. I mean, for lack of a better word, I don't know what to call it, contract class. We just call it contract. This is something we haven't done before. But I'm going to take you through this class and I'm going to show you how contracts become valid. I mean, if a contract never has a lien, if you never establish a lien relationship, is the contract valid? These are questions we're going to be talking about. I've got a case right now that I'm dealing with, and it's absolutely silly. But if you know what you're doing and you make the right presentments, you can slow these guys down. In most cases, okay, if you understand the bigger game, you're going to get the bigger win. And the bigger game, Natasha, is understanding equity. Okay, understanding in this class, we're gonna bend it, man, because it's so hard to get your mind around this. It is so hard for those of us that haven't had any formal training in this or anything like that, or you don't see anything like this. It's really hard. But you know what? This class, we're gonna go in there and we're gonna bend it, and we're gonna forge a better you. Okay, a much better you. When you come out of this class, you're gonna come out with war paint on. You're gonna come out with 6 shooters at your side. You're going to come out with backup. Okay. You're not going to be walking out in the front yard anymore. Oh, I just watered the yard. No, you're going to be walking around bold as a lion. Boom, boom. This is who I am. And people will know who you are. More important. This won't be a facade. This is going to be who you are. And operate this way. So in my class, we're going to talk, like I said, a lot about contracts. Let me show you little crumbs, okay? Some little crumbs about this class that we're going to be talking about. So in your contracts, okay, what they're doing is they're literally capturing your equity. Now, how are they capturing your equity? Well, because they put performance on a contract and you signed it. Now, all of you guys can probably remember the last time you bought a car, the last time you signed up for a credit card at the bank, the last time you did whatever you did. Okay. You remember the last time you did that. Now, do you remember? Okay, let's do a better one. Because you know what? I don't think I got everybody on that one. Let me broaden the net just a little bit. How about the last time you guys went and bought a phone somewhere? Huh? When they said, oh, you're going to come by here and get 4 free phones for free for 99 cents. Just come on by and sign up. Okay. Right. That was you, right? You did that. Now, do you remember that whole, do you remember all that paperwork that came out of Verizon Wireless or AT&T or wherever you went? Do you remember how much paperwork? Good God. I mean, it was front and back and like so small. You would have to call a forensic analyst to read that to you. And it wouldn't be a good bedtime story because it makes no sense. But here's what you'll see if you read those things. I know you don't want to, but go read it. Just take it to the bathroom with you and go read it. Trust me. Just go read it. And when you read it, you're going to find that contract doesn't benefit you at all. But wait a minute. This was your 4 free phones. This was you getting, we're in it, right? We're going to get the iPhone 26 now that's got remote controls to control your neighbor's Tesla now. You can back it out of the driveway. Look, back it out of the driveway. Look, it's an iPhone 26. I got you. You know what I mean? This is what people are chasing right now. They're chasing this because it's doing things they didn't do before. But here's what they're doing. They're doing an installment contract. And I just did a video about the pickle boy talking about this too, by the way. But anyway, they're going to put you in a retail installment contract, and that contract is going to obligate you to perform. Now, when you sign that little contract, it's probably in a little bitty box, like smaller than that. I'm serious. It's probably smaller than that, or it's like a little line you couldn't even hang yourself off of. It's just nothing. Like it's not even that small. It's like this big. And then they give you that little place to sign initials like that big, right? You just get to scratch on the paper. That's all you get to do at best. And what you find when you read that contract is that contract doesn't benefit you at all. What it's doing is, come on, Brandon. I hope somebody share this with Brandon Joe Williams so he can get it. Look here, man. What they're doing is they're capturing your equity. Every part of your equity. When you read that security agreement, you're going to see that there's a fail safe for this. If you don't do this, then this is going to happen. If you do this, then this is going to happen. And if you do this, then this is going to happen. And all these things are going to happen. And that's what security agreements are. There are a whole bunch of contracts mashed up into little tiny little articles, little squares, and then you sign them. And then you agree to them and you get the little square too. But here's the problem. Administratively, if there's a problem, you don't have any rights. Did you hear what I said? Natasha, you hear what I said? If there's a problem with your loan, you as the borrower alone by yourself or the credit or whatever you are, the debtor, the borrower, the one that's performing, okay, in the circuit. And there's a lending statement. That's you. That's what you're doing. You're going to make the 86,000 payments or 42,000 months, and it's going to be at this interest rate, at this cost, and it's going to be all that at the end. I'm going to go over all that with you guys. But here's the problem. If something happens within that contract or within that security agreement, you can't foreclose on them. What? Well, you know, earlier I was telling you guys I did a video on the pickle boy. I did. And the reason I did, Natasha, is because like remember last year he was talking about doing the one special sign thing, and then all those people got all these brand new cars, and they were, you know, and they were holding keys, and they were talking it up. Remember? They were flooding the Facebook page with all these new cars. And I signed it and I got it. Well, he really deceived all those people because all those people that didn't make their payments lost their cars. Every one of them. And here's where he shortcutted his process. He said, if you do a special endorsement on this security instrument, it'll automatically fund it. And I'm going to go in my class. I'm going to go through in my class, and I'm going to show you guys. No, those security agreements are funded as you make payments. That's when those security agreements are funded. Before then, it's nothing. So if the security agreement doesn't perform and you signed up for a loan and you intended to get a loan, but you didn't exercise that loan and you decided that you were going to default, some of those people got criminal charges for fraud. Some people got charged. They didn't just get their cars repoed. It wasn't just you don't do that again. No, it was behind their back and gone. This is serious stuff. Okay? You can't be playing. And somebody needs, I'll tell you, my friend tells me that, he's got a long list of things that he said wrong. That's great. But a man that takes much rebuke and doesn't change his ways is stiff-necked. And it's really broken, is what Proverbs says. So if we keep doing the same mistakes over and over again, we're not learning from them. In this group, we're doing things a little differently. I will never ask you to do anything that's illegal, ever. Because we don't have to. We can walk the line, and you can do this thing properly. If you've got a teacher that's telling you to be some rebellious whatever and, go make some noise and all this other nonsense, number one, Yahweh isn't going to bless you. And he's not going to bless you because he despises somebody with a haughty attitude. So if we're haughty in any way, you can forget it. You just lost your blessing. You can just forget it. Okay? But if we do this thing right and we walk the line, then that means they got to walk the line too. In this class, I'm going to show you how to make them walk that line. The second day of this class is going to be about repossession. Oh, yeah. And I'm going to show you guys actual video. I'm going to actually show you pictures, okay, of the repo man at my house trying to take my car. And he did. But then he went out the driveway, and then you'll see the cops show up, and then you see the car go down, and then you see the tow truck driver go away, and you see the car in the driveway next. That tow truck driver went to jail. This is how powerful your trust is. And then sometime after that, the bank decided to hire these corporate lawyers to come after me. And they filed a complaint in small claims court and are asking the judge in this to actually make me turn over the car to them. But it's owned by the trust. So Texas Property Code says you can't do that. Texas Property Code says they don't have jurisdiction. This is why you need to know where you stand in these processes, okay? When you guys are holding property, somebody can go on a public database and come after you because they know what you own. And they will. One of my students right now he got through the trust class. He got through a lot of stuff done, but he didn't. And you know what? And he did some other stuff too. He actually got the note on his house. We're going to talk about getting the notes back and stuff like that. He got the note on his house. He got that back. He got that sent off and monetized and everything. And he's waiting for his check to come back. And right now, and quite a big check, $127,000. So anyway, he's done that. Hey, our vice president just joined us. Anyway, and so he's gotten that back. And but then the one fatal mistake he made was he didn't put his property in trust. So then he had an accident. And this lady, it was actually this lady's fault. But it's a long story short, this lady got greedy, went and looked him up in the public land record, that, oh, he's a homeowner. Well, if he's a homeowner, that means he's got insurance. So guess how much of a lawsuit they came after him for? $1 million. And I mean, like, to the penny. We couldn't say $1,849.22. We couldn't say nothing like that. We just live in Peter Pan land. And let me tell you something. This kind of stuff really happens. This is why it's important to know how to protect your property. I love those people that are on this call right now that are probably, oh, well, we don't get involved with that kind of thing. And, that kind of stuff, we just stay away from that kind of stuff. We're just over here and everything's better. You know what? You're next. You keep talking like that and you're next. You keep thinking like that and you're next. You'll be the next person that gets their pockets picked on Friday night. I guarantee you. You know why? Because pride comes for the fall. And if you're not willing to be humbled enough to know, this could happen to any of you out there holding property. Okay. If somebody wants to target you, come after you, make your life miserable, hurt you, think about where all your property is listed. It's listed under your name. And look at us. We've been taught for years to strut around the house. It's our property. But the reality is that it's really your liability. And we got pirates and pirate ships that float around. And they show themselves at maritime courts. And they're just looking. I swear these bottom feeders are so pathetic. I swear it's like they hang out by the fax machine or the copy machine at the banks just looking for somebody's stuff so they can go through it and go get somebody. Really. I'm serious. It's what it feels like. Because quite honestly, this part of our law that's operating, which is what I'm talking about I'm talking about small claims court. I'm talking about where these little debt collectors show up and they decide that they want to start flexing on people. Okay. You know what? This is a new day. This is a new season. This is a time for you guys to learn. This is a time where knowledge is everywhere. Knowledge is exploding all over the world. I don't care what you say. It's what's happening. And stupid people like me are becoming really, really, really smart because of this. And you would do yourself a favor to jump on this wagon, man. And I say stupid people like me, okay? Because you know what? I'm just like the rest of y'all. I was just thrown in the coin of the toss, just like the rest of y'all, okay? And I had to learn and I had to figure it out. But because I have an ability to learn lots of different things, I've gotten to experience lots of different markets. And because I've had those experiences in different markets, this gives me a very, very, it's a different view. It's a different view than what a lot of people have, and I encourage you guys, if you guys want to learn more about this, you need to. You absolutely need to. Those of you guys that are operating in trust, you need to know how this equity stuff works. Otherwise, you're going to be calling a lawyer every time you need something, especially if you have a trust that's worth any real amount of money. Think about all these people that have money. What do they have? They have a whole bunch of bloodsuckers around them watching them. Look at these rock stars. Look at how many people they have that give them opinions. Oh, we got an opinion for this, an opinion for that. And you see how these people are doing this. You see the football players. Look at the entourage that shows up with one football player. Look at Scottie Pippen. Have you ever seen his entourage? Boy, that guy's got an entourage. Michael Jordan, he's got an entourage. They all do. Okay? But you don't have to. Those people have entourages not because they're important, it's because they're not smart enough to know how to handle their stuff. So now they got to trust somebody. Didn't work too well for Michael Jackson, did it? Didn't work too well for Cat Stevens, did it? You know who Cat Stevens is? Some of you guys probably don't know who that is. But he's a dude from the 70s. And he was a phenomenal artist. Phenomenal artist. Cat Stevens was absolutely amazing. He did things that no other musicians at the time were doing at the time. And he was just special. And they took him, they monetized him, and he left broke because he didn't know how to manage his stuff. Tonight, we've got an opportunity. This is a beautiful opportunity for you guys to ask questions about this stuff. You can ask us anything. Really, you can. And this isn't legal advice. This is personal experience. I got tons of it. Natasha, what are your thoughts on all this stuff too? I mean, understanding the contracts, is it really that important?
Yeah, actually it is. I think I've gotten myself in a little bit of pickle because I didn't pay that much attention to my contract
Uh-oh.
because we got in too big of a hurry signing the paperwork in the bank and all that. And my contractor more or less wrote like an estimate. And, basically at the end of it, it just says, balances are due to change, with cost of material up and down. And we ran into a problem with somebody messed up on the job site, and I don't know who to turn to make them pay for that problem that they messed up on. So
Insurance.
yeah. Now I have builder's risk insurance, so maybe them.
I would call your representative, and I would have that conversation with them. And I'm going to say more than likely you'll have coverage for it. Now, also during your building process, if this guy was bonded, if he's bonded, which I'm sure he is, you could make a claim against his insurance too.
Oh wow. Okay.
hmm hmm
Which on one hand, it's not really that big of a deal, but whenever it starts adding up that this was messed up, this was messed up, you're $3,000, $4,000, then now you're 10 and 15, and you're like, stop, it's getting ridiculous, So
Well, and that's when you have to. That's when you need to You need to give them some plus or minus leeway
Mhm.
on their estimates, and then and tell them that, hey, they need to make a new contract with you if they're going to exceed this.
Yeah.
You know,
And
for
so
years of being a contractor myself, that's how I always did business.
yeah. Yeah. Another thing I was thinking about the class though is you also teach us how the creditors get your information, and the minorities, and how like some certain minorities are, I feel that are kind of picked on, and I think that's how when
They
they don't
absolutely
learn,
are.
yeah, they don't learn, how to do this process and protect themselves, then they keep in the race and living a paycheck to paycheck and in that grind, and when you first start taking initiative over your money and how everything works, then you start getting ahead, So I
Right.
think in this class it's very important. Um, Also in this class here too, do you teach us about the TT and L window, like with the contracts and
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We go into a big discussion about the TTNL window. A lot of you guys might not know what that TTNL window is, but what it stands for, it's an acronym, and it stands for not tax title license, treasury and lien. We're going to talk about this window. This window. Now, the pickle guy, the stupid guy, whatever his name is, that guy, the Brandon stupid guy. I don't want to say the name of his channel because his channel is very inappropriate. As a matter of fact, when I posted his video because it had that on there, YouTube flagged it and said it's not for children just because of the one stupid .com. So we'll just call him stupid, Mr. Stupid. Anyway, one of the things that I wanted to call out on that situation is that if we can monetize and understand where our TTL window is. I'm going to show you guys in this class what the TTL window does, where it is, and what does it do. And once you understand how that TTL window works, then you're going to understand how bank funds or bank notes are created. Okay. What we call money. Okay. But it's really not money because we don't have any money. We haven't had any money in a long time. We're never going to have any money. We're going to have coins and silver and things like that we can convert to notes. But we're in a note system. Okay. Whether you guys like it or not, whether you believe it or not, whether you're a Christian, atheist, Buddhist, I don't care what you are. We're still in that system. It just is what it is, man. So here's what we would need to do. We need to learn it. You know what I mean? If we can all come to the point of, hey, you know what? We need to learn this system. Because if we don't learn this system, they're going to continue to keep running us over and running us over. I did a video this past week on Tanawa Downing. I don't know if you were it was last week when you weren't here. But we had a call and we talked a little bit about Tanawa Downing and Jessica Saxton. Oh, I'm going to catch some crap for this. I already know. Because, nobody likes to get mad at the honeypot. But I'm just telling you, that whole thing is one big honeypot roadshow. Okay? And here's the problem. We're not fixing anything. You guys know who I'm talking about, right? You know who I'm talking about? The Tanawa Downing guy and the Jessica Saxton thing. They're running around and they're showing up at different places all over the country. and they have this little speech that they do, and they talk about how the states are undermining the federal rights of this and that, and that they're issuing information instead of, doing this other stuff and stuff like that. And these guys are supposed to be litigators, but they're really not litigators because they're not litigating anything. Nobody's arguing with them. They're just running around the country, raising money and telling people that they're not asking anybody for any money. And in my opinion, I think they're impersonating a nonprofit. This is something that a nonprofit would do to raise awareness and something like that. And these people are not a nonprofit. They're not raising any awareness. Nobody's getting their kids back because of this. And this has been going on for a minute. So I encourage you guys, if you guys are seeing these guys running around, after you've heard that speech like 4 or 5 times, Juan, you know what I'm talking about? Have you heard of them? The Tana Downing? No, you haven't heard of those guys? I thought you might have heard of them. Anyway, but they're out there. They're running around, and they're kind of just calling out the states, and they're basically going to the states, and each state they're going to townships, and they're basically telling them that, hey, you're violating the Constitution, and what you're doing is wrong, and you're a bad person because of this, and these are our rights, and blah, 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 blah. And here's the problem with that movement. How did we get these stupid laws in the first place? Really? Natasha, how did we get all these silly laws in the first place? How did all this happen? You know what I mean? The ones that we don't like, that we think aren't fair, the ones that Tana Downing are talking about, saying they're diminishing our rights because, they're convicting people on information rather than doing this. So it's got to be this. And so why? How's this happening? How did all these silly laws get there in the first place? You know how they got there? Due process. And do you know how they're going to unget there? Due process. So that means the very same door that was open to pass all those stupid laws, you're going to have to go back through that same door and open that door again and run it through our system. I get really frustrated in this movement when I hear people say stuff, oh, that's illegal. Oh, what they're doing is illegal. Oh, they're breaking the law. Oh, that's a felony. And this and that. And you hear these guys, and they're all, it's like they're referees in a football game, and they're blowing a whistle going, oh no, that's a felony over there. But they don't even have a whistle. They don't. But here's what they don't have either. They're over here, and they're saying that we need to protect all these rights, right? Except for the due process one. I mean, because what I'm seeing in this movement is that nobody wants due process to go fix something. We just want to bitch about it. Did I say that? I'm sorry. But I'm just saying it's true. And crying about it is not going to get it done. Not when you know what the lever was that opened the door in the first place. And that door is due process. That door is equity. In this class, you're going to learn the basics on how this stuff really works and how to be effective. So you're not running around the country lying to people. Yeah, I'm going to tell you, this honeypot roadshow was going to be nauseous. These people are going to create a lot more problems than they solve. And here's why. There's a lot of people throwing money at that situation right now. And when people start figuring out that it's not working, the people's hearts are going to be hardened. And when the real person comes by that can actually fix this, when the real person that comes by that has the answers, that knows how to walk through the right door, that knows how to pull the levers, when that person shows up, nobody's going to listen to that guy. You know why? Because the Honeypot Roadshow came running through along with Christopher Hauser, along with Derek Gonzalez, along with all these other cuckoo birds that are just running around starting because they're stirring the pot. Due process doesn't work that way. When you use this system properly, doors open, and they open because this game is like a domino game, okay? If you do this, it knocks down that domino. And if you knock down all the dominoes, then you got a great show. And in most cases, you win, right? Unless, well, never mind. Unless you're playing a different kind of dominoes. But I'm talking about those domino shows where everybody knocks them all down. This is how we have to think of these things. You guys want change in your local government? Change you. Change you. Change the way you look at things. Stop looking at things through these Sunday school eyes, through these first and third and fifth grade eyes. We need to come to the point and to the realization that we've learned nothing, that we've spent thousands of hours in high school, middle school, college, undergraduate, degrees. We have learned nothing but what they wanted us to learn. This class is going to teach you something different. This class is going to be able to encumber all of your life experiences and magnify those things on such a level, you're going to be able to see clearly. You're going to see what they did. Some of y'all are going to be mad about that. Derek Gonzalez used to be one of my students, actually, believe it or not. Those of you guys that have seen him on YouTube. He's a bit of a loose cannon. But he used to be one of my students. But when you give somebody too much at one time, it overloads them. And it can make you a little bit crazy. It can make you do things that you normally wouldn't do. Because we have so many feelings of betrayal. We have so many feelings of, you don't know who to blame, but you got to blame somebody. Peace is what you need to seek. And in this class, that's what I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you how I got my peace. And then I was able to think clearly. And I was able to face my adversary, seize lots of them, okay? And smoke those guys. All of them. Every one of them. And I'm talking about whole townships. You think Houston County is the first one that's come after me? No. They tried that in Bandera after I got a clerk and a judge fired out there. Why? Because I understood the principles of equity. And I understood how to make it work. And I understood that if I knock this domino down, it's probably going to knock that domino down. And that's how those two people didn't have jobs anymore. And I'm talking about they showed up to work and there was a pink slip with their lunchbox that says, "You're good. You can go home today." But in other words, they're not insurable anymore. You get a notice like that, you're done. Well, then they get a little excited. So these are some of the things I'm going to be sharing with you in this class. I'm going to talk to you guys about foreclosure. I'm going to talk to you guys about enforcing your contracts. Okay. What do I mean, Natasha? What do I mean by enforcing your contracts? I mean, maybe you could elaborate on that. Like, what do you mean, like enforcing your contract? I mean, should we enforce a contract? I mean, should we just wait for them to just tell us what to do, or call the 1-800 I'm pissed off number and see what they say there or something? I don't know. What should we do?
Well, from your classes that I've taken, to where if they step out of honor and they break the contract, then yeah, you need to make them enforce the contract and live up to their end. So they put you in a bunch of contracts and make you abide by them. So they have to abide by those same contracts. So if you step out of line, they can come with that lien and they can do this and that. So you can be able to reverse the roles and do it back to them. So
you remember when we were kids and we used to be stupid and we'd ride around with our bikes and we'd flip the handlebars around. We'd be like, "Look, you're riding around like this." And it looked dumb for like 15 minutes or something. I don't know. I was kind of one of those kids that liked all the attention. So I'd be doing it like all day. I didn't care. But my point is that when you see an open road, okay, in commerce, okay, when you're doing business and contract law, things like that, you take that road, okay? A contractor can open up a road of commerce because you need to get the swimming pool put in your backyard. You're getting a pool, right? No? You getting a pool?
No.
I'm not visiting then.
That one
I was, you know what? I was going to be there. I was, because I figured it was like there was going to be a pool. There was going to be some balloons. No pool, huh?
No, not with my little ones. I'm too scared of it.
Wow. We're going to have to talk about that. Anyway, well, we'll just have to figure out something. I'll bring one of the little blow up pools. We'll just bring just kidding. Anyway, No, what I'm saying is, you know, these people, they all have insurance, they all have things and this and this and that. But when you start seeing how the matrix really works, and you start seeing these contracts, and you start seeing roads, you start seeing valleys, you start seeing people are traveling on these roads of commerce. Here's a road of commerce. I'll give you guys a really good example. The repossession guy, repo guy. That guy's on a road, isn't he? Because he's doing something every single day. And what's he doing? He's running around stealing people's property. And he's saying that it was a voluntary repossession when they're sneaking up and trespassing in people's houses and things like that. Now, is the car paid for? That's the real question. Is it? Sort of, maybe. We'll talk about that in the class. We're going to talk about that. But let's talk about the repo guy. The repo guy shows up. Nobody cares about the repo guy. You know what I mean? He rolls up and down the road. Y'all seen him? They're in those tow trucks that are all blacked out, and they don't have any advertising on them at all. That's the repo guy. When you see one of those, if it's a white truck or and it has no emblems, no nothing on it, and it's just rolling stealth like that, and it's got one of those boom things sticking up in the back, that's a repo truck. Yeah, that's what that means. So when you see those heading through an apartment complex, you know somebody's going to get it 133 or something. Something's going to happen. But anyway, these people that are operating with these repo trucks, what they're doing is they're really stealing property. Yeah. See, the contracts really don't balance out. But because these guys have all the gold, these guys get to make all the rules. So I'm going to teach you the rules. And more importantly, I'm going to show you how to drive on the same rules. So let's give an example. One of the reasons that the Pickle Boys students got their cars picked up is because right off the bat, they probably called them and refused to pay. They probably called them and said, Mr. Hernandez, we're calling about your 2025 BMW, and you haven't made your $2,000 a month payment this month. And we wanted to know why. Because that's a dumb payment. That's why. No, I'm kidding. That's not why. So, no, I went to the Brandon Joe Williams class, and he said that we could do a special endorsement, and we could just sign that thing and automatically pays the contract, and that's it. So are you saying you're not making any payments, Mr. Hernandez? That's right. And my payment's not even due yet, so I don't even care. Ha ha. They're at your house tomorrow, picking up your car. Whoa, wait a minute. The payment that I'm not supposed to pay isn't even due yet, and they're picking up the car. Why? Refusal to pay. If you refuse to pay, they come pick up the collateral. That's automatic. Do you see what he was setting his people up for? That's what he was doing. And this is exactly what happened to them. And you notice that none of those people are waving their car keys around today. I remember there was these other folks, we talked about them last week, but these other people that said that you could get houses with a 1099-A. Not one house sold from that whole circus. Not one. Not one happy person. And I'm talking about thousands of people flooded in and said, oh, we're getting the house of our dreams. It's because we don't understand money. In this class, I'm going to teach you money. I'm going to teach you how this stuff works. I'm going to show you the elements of a contract and where those elements could put you in a situation. I'm going to show you guys how to recontract. Did you know that you have that? You can recontract? Did you know that? Did you know that every time your home loan is bought out by Green Tree Financial or Chase, whoever that bought your mortgage, did you know that they're going to send you an opportunity to recontract? Yeah. They're going to send you a note and say, hi, we're from Joe Blow Sunshine Mortgage over here, and you're going to need to make your payments to us from now on. It reminds me of the 20s with the gangsters who would go around and shake people down. Hey, you're not paying those guys anymore. You're not paying the Cannoli family anymore. You're paying us now, all right? We'll be here on Tuesdays, every Tuesday to pick up. The shop owner said, okay, right? This is what they're doing to you guys, homeowners. They're offering to recontract. What if I could show you how to check their mail? What if I could show you how to say, hey, I see you're recontracting, but do you really have the right to recontract? If you knew what those elements were, you could ask that question. And while your home loan is in that flux between them ultimately trying to capture your performance, they're going to send you a presentment that says you need to pay us now. And they're hoping that your performance will continue. Because if it does, then now they've got access to that note. So it's not about your house. It's kind of what they use to make us go to work. It's kind of what they use to make us do stuff. That's how this stuff really works. And I'm seeing a lot of comments out here. Thank y'all so much for all of your great comments. I appreciate it so much. Now, I'm going to tell you guys, this class is coming up on the 11th and 12th. It's going to be a 2-day class. The second day, we're going to be talking a lot about foreclosure. We're going to be talking about how I actually foreclosed on my lenders, not once, twice. We're going to go through 2 cases. One where I did it, where we went to court, and the other one, we didn't go to court. But then 2 years later, we ended up in court again. And I'm going to tell you about what's going on with that. And it's quite an embarrassment for the other side. And, it's not easy. It's actually pretty easy. Once you understand who you are, once you understand where you stand in the contract, and more importantly, once the administrator of your trust steps into place and he starts administering your trust and starts making these payments, you're not that guy on that little bitty line anymore. You're somebody important now. You're the gatekeeper. You're the one that says, hey, hold on a second. Now we got rules over here and this stuff has to jive. And if it doesn't jive, you have a fiduciary duty to protect your trust. Okay. Misappropriation of fiduciary funds or property in the state of Texas can carry a sentence up to 2 to 20 years. No kidding. So when I tell you that your trust will protect your property, I'm going to tell you in real time it actually does. And those of you guys that are in Texas, the Texas Property Code says the courts can't commingle at all. It says the courts can't tell the trustee what to do. The courts can't separate the trustee from the property. Nothing. Now, that's the kind of protection we need to get behind. That's the kind of protection we need to understand. And the problem is, they're not teaching it. They're not teaching it. This is going to be a wonderful class and a wonderful opportunity for you guys to better yourselves. And more importantly, set up something for your beneficiaries. I know that we all talk about it. We all want to leave stuff for our kids. And I think we have the best intentions to do it. But if you fail to plan to fail. If you fail to plan to fail. So if you're not making plans right now while you're in your prime and you're able to work 90 hours a week if you need to, if you're not putting that away now, what you're doing is you're walking around with a bucket with a big hole in it. And every time you throw your hard-earned labor and your money in there and your finances and everything, you got this hole in your bucket. It keeps coming out. And my God, man, we can't even sit at our dinner tables anymore without this stuff coming in and invading our dinner tables. We're going to change that. I'm going to show you how to change that, and I'm going to show you how to do it better. I've been doing it 9 years now. It's worked really well. Natasha, I know you're in it for your 2nd year now. You're going into your 2nd year on your trust. Juan set up his trust. Now he's setting up a new trust. One of the things that I'm seeing out there is there's a lot of these cuckoo birds that are talking about setting up multiple trusts. Have you heard of that? Like you need a trust for your car. You need a trust for your socks, a trust for your kids, a trust for the big wheel. I don't know.
That's a lot of EIN numbers to have to file taxes on.
But you know what? These guys aren't thinking like that.
Wow.
See, in their mind, they're thinking, oh, it's a trust and we don't have to do anything. We have no responsibility. Help us out on that. What do you think?
That's a lot of responsibility.
It's fun, right?
Yeah.
You can't just say, I'm the president here. It's got to be more than
No, your sole job is to actually look over your beneficiaries to what benefits them the best. So If my husband comes to me and say, hey, I need a $30,000 truck. Why? The other ones are not working. What's going on? This and that and the other. And then I tell him, so how are you going to get the money back? You're going to go get a security agreement? What are you going to do? So, just to go blow $30,000 or whatever he wants to spend on that truck, it doesn't happen. And he doesn't get mad about it. But he's like, okay, but he sees the point of where it helps, as far as that. He's like, we'll sit down, we'll talk like adults. And like, if you can do this, this, and this, then we're fine. But if you can't prove to me on, why you need the truck, how this and that and the other, then you don't get it, and it's actually kind of good for that one trustee to look over everybody to keep the wealth going instead of just blowing it and, going through the bucket. So, I mean, it is.
Exactly. Exactly. No, you're exactly right. And I mean, and I couldn't have said it better myself. You're exactly right. I mean, by having this, you have someone at the head, and that someone is at the head, whoever that is. Okay. Whether it be, in this case, it's Natasha. Okay. And what she's doing is that she's making a plan. So if we're going to go buy a big wheel and, we're going to go buy a Harley Davidson, let's say he comes to you, forget the work truck. No, I want to buy something that's fun for me. And I want a Harley Davidson with loud exhaust and burning tailpipes and all that stuff. I saw that TV show, and that's what I want, Natasha. You're probably looking at him like, no, Larry, you're not doing that. Larry, but let's just say he really like puts it down. He's like, you know what? No, this is something I need to do. It's on my list of things to do. And it's just, I just haven't done it. I have never driven down the interstate completely naked on a Harley Davidson before. So this has to happen, and I just have to do it. Okay. Well, even as extreme as that is, if you have a plan, you can make it work.
Absolutely.
And you can go streaking with them. No, I'm kidding. Don't do that. I'm not recommending that. No, what I'm saying is you have to have a plan. So just like she was saying, to go down and just bang out 30 grand out of the bank account and go throw it at a Harley Davidson, which you can easily do. Okay. It's fruitless. And it's fruitless because there's no plan in place for recoupment. You're just losing it. And you got to look at those of you guys that are learning about trust and things like that, you got to look at your trust as like a holding company. You got to look at your trust as like a petty cash drawer. And that way, when 30 grand leaves there, you can't just say, because I said so. You got to run it like a business. I'm going to show you guys how to do this stuff properly. I'm going to show you guys how to create real honest wealth on a system that works. And that way, nobody's going through your stuff. Nobody's ever shaking you down and saying, even in family court, divorce court, they can't touch your trust. Legally cannot touch your trust. So that's a safe place to be. Now, here's the safest place to be, knowing how to administer your trust. Because people are going to come by. Those of you that are minorities, they're going to come after you. They know you're brown. They do. They know you're white too. They know. I'm going to talk a whole lot about that. I'm going to talk about how they built this whole system to put everybody in line and make everybody run down the street, but all at different places. I'm going to show you exactly how they've done it. I've been looking at credit for over 20 years. People's credit. I've seen credit all. I've seen it all. I've seen 19-year-old kids that came from a good family, had one line of credit on there, didn't even have a job, a 700 and something beacon score. Really, that's all he had. You take the same guy, change his skin color, change his zip code, and that same person is going to walk in with a 500 beacon score and need a cosigner. Why is that? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about these traps. And then more importantly, I'm going to show you guys how to get out. Because you know what? I was in one of those traps too. If you've got any kind of public record, they're going to put you in that box. Okay. If you've ever had a ticket, if you've ever had a misdemeanor or probation or anything like that, they're going to put you in that box and they're going to handicap you. They're going to handicap your credit. They're going to handicap you. How do we fix that? I'm going to show you how to walk right over those walls. I'm going to show you how to separate yourself from that stuff so you don't have to deal with that anymore. You don't have to compete with that stuff anymore. You can just focus on building and managing your wealth and managing your trust. If you guys can learn these simple things, your beneficiaries will definitely appreciate it. This class is going to be on the 11th and 12th of this month. If you guys are interested in joining this class, call my office. I'll be in my office tomorrow after 10 o'clock, 210-605-0144. That's 210-605-0144. Give my office a call. I'd love to talk to you about the upcoming classes and the other classes that we have coming up this month too. We have a UCC and trust class coming up as well. It's going to be a fantastic workshop. You guys, it's time. We need to get this stuff together. Ignorance, there's no more excuses. Okay. I'm here and I'm here for a season and I don't know how long I'm going to be here, but I'm here. And while I'm here, this is a good opportunity for you guys to get in. I hope that you guys have enjoyed the call. Natasha, would you like to close this out tonight? Thank you so much for being here. Juan, thank you for joining us too, by the way.
Yeah, thank y'all everybody for joining us and taking the time with us this afternoon. And like Tim said, if y'all are interested in the class, give him a call and we'd love to look forward to seeing y'all in the class. Y'all have a beautiful, blessed night. Thank y'all.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.